Alright, Shalom. First and best and all praise to Yahweh Basham Shai, Basham Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers and sisters in truth and sincerity. As you can see, the title of this video is Refugees of Color Face Discrimination While Fleeing Ukraine. And they got another one out that speaks on the Indians. I don't know if those are like East Indians, but one thing for sure is that the Israelites were scattered everywhere. They got another video. I'm looking at it now on my computer. It says Ukrainians only, Nigerian student fleeing war describes, and then they talking about racism because I watched one with this gentleman in it, but yeah, you got Jake them that look like Africans, and you also got Africans over there, whatever the case may be. But you got Israelites that's going through the same thing. This discrimination. So I'm gonna go ahead and press play on this video and then add some precepts.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. So glad you're streaming with us today as thousands of people flee the violence in Ukraine. Worrying accounts now of racial discrimination are being reported throughout the evacuation efforts. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is now confirming to us that there are cases of discrimination in admitting refugees. One Congo native saying he was discriminated against while trying to board a train out of Ukraine. Take a listen.
They even told us, like, we are going to give you guns and you're going to fight for Ukraine. I said, hi. We're going to fight for Ukraine? We are not Ukrainian. We are black. So how can we fight? How can we fight for Ukraine? If we fight for Ukraine, we are going to die first because we are black. When they will see, oh, look at those black people. I think they are from they are from NATO. So we have to kill them first. So how could they think that way? Come on. Ukraine.
Wow. Our ABC News' Marcus Moore with us now for more outside that train station in Poland. Marcus, here we are in the middle of humanitarian crisis. People are still finding a way to dehumanize others, specifically others in need.
Kira, it is an ugly truth that is once again bubbling to the surface in the midst of a war, in the midst of a humanitarian crisis that is now unfolding here in Poland and Ukraine and in neighboring countries. And you heard from that gentleman there. He's 34 years old. He's lived in Ukraine for the past 9 years, originally from Congo, and he said he left the Republic of Congo for a better life, to escape the political situation, the strife there. And here he is once again now having to leave another country and is facing discrimination. Just a little bit more about what he said, Kira, that he and others endured as they tried to leave Ukraine. He is in Dnipro, or lived in Dnipro, which is just south of Kiev. And at one point on the train that he was trying to get on with so many other refugees, he said that the guards there said that only women and children would be allowed to board the trains that were headed west. And that then they saw that there were white men who were allowed to get on, but that the people of color were barred from getting onto that train. And it was a moment of disbelief for him, and certainly one of frustration. And he said that he would have gotten it on video, how the guards were aggressive, he said, towards the people of color, if he had had the time. But in the midst of the chaos, it was not his first thought to record what was happening. But certainly, as you know now, there have been a number of reports of discrimination that have unfolded in the midst of this mass exodus from Ukraine. And it's certainly very upsetting to him. But Kira, he said something very striking. For anyone who has been to that part of the world, and obviously the population is mostly white in Ukraine and in this part of the world. And he said that to be black in Ukraine, that you expect to be treated a certain way. And so on a certain level, he wasn't surprised by what happened, but certainly he was saddened and frustrated today about what they all experienced.
You know what, if you don't mind, let's take a listen to another part of your exchange with him, Marcus, and talk a little bit more.
It was clear. It was clear. Because we are black, that's why they were acting that way. Come on. We are black people in a white country. We already know the way that we're gonna act with us. So for me, it's nothing.
Right, man. And the crazy thing is Jake's still asleep to these Edomites being their enemy. So when things like this happen, they be in like shocked, and then they just, well, it's always been here. When in actuality, you're supposed to be pissed off. You ain't got to, put your hands on nobody unless they try to put their hands on you, but you ain't supposed to be in no cool, calm, collected spirit because it's devil hating you. You supposed to hate them too. It's good to be cool, calm, collected, but don't just overlook it. You have to be, like scripture says, sober, vigilant. The scriptures also say, Judah, from the prey, my son, thou art gone up. You forget, meaning Judah forgot who his enemy was. So you always, the scriptures say always, you have to never trust your enemy. And to never trust your enemy, you have to know who your enemy is. So, give me 1 second. This is Romans chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep. Right, Israel was scattered all over the world, man. And it's time for the Lord gonna wake up his elect, his chosen. But it's time for Israel to wake up out of sleep. You have to know who your enemy is, man. You have to know that these wars and these rumors of wars and all this chaos, destruction, famines, pestilences, etc. is going to be happening up until Yahushua get here, man. Yahushua and the angels. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, right, man? And the salvation is going to be for the elect of Israel over here or around the world that get delivered from being hit by these thermonuclear missiles, man. Ultimately, it's primarily going to be in America, but I don't know. The Lord might have it to where Jake, because the missiles going to be hitting everywhere. So if Jake them in the area and they believe in the truth, I'm pretty sure the Lord going to beam them up too. But this is Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right, man? So you're supposed to never trust your enemy. The black/Native Americans got the same common enemy. Either Edomite that put us in slavery, man. Nothing has changed. It says, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. We still in his system, man. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be as unto him, as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust, his wickedness, his hatred towards you have not been altogether wiped away. Right, so this devil always gonna hate us. Esau always gonna hate us. Even though he humbled himself and called himself trying to speak for the poor, or we got programs for the poor, we're gonna make laws for the poor, the case may be. He's always gonna be your enemy. So it's always gonna be a setup, a trap, basically set with them sweet, charming words he be having. Like the scriptures say. Let me get it. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Right, man? So this white man, this Edomite. It's like I'm in a place where I gotta kind of whisper. But this Edomite, words are smoother than butter, man. He talk a good game. He'll make you believe what he's saying. Get you all emotionally involved, etc. But war was in his heart. But there's always a trap. It's always something on the other side to where he really just trying to eventually kill you or do some type of harm to you. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. This 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 6. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Right, man? So you gotta be awake to what's going on in the world right now. You can't be out here asleep, meaning not knowing what's going on. In some philosophy, thinking that Esau is your friend. Esau and other nations, because not only is Esau your enemy, the other nations are your enemy. That ain't of Israel. Ain't of the Israelites, man. First Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober. Right, so you can't be out here drunk with philosophies, man. That love everybody's spirit, that's a philosophy. That's not in the scriptures, man. You're supposed to love thy neighbor. Thy neighbor is your fellow brother, which is an Israelite, man. The rest of these nations are heathens. They ain't got nothing to do with Israel. They're your enemies. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant. Right, you gotta be watching. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Right, Esau, man. Seeking whom he may devour. Your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And the devil is using all type of people to try to devour us that are woke. And for you jakes that, aren't all the way woke, the devil, which can be in the form of Esau, your parents, your friends, etc., is really trying to devour you. Basically, have it to where you get into some shit that you can't get out of, that can be harmful to you or deadly to you, man. This First Peter chapter 4, verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand, the end of Esau's kingdom. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Right, so you got to pray also, man. I'm going to play the rest of this clip.
Wow, that's amazing. It's nothing. I wonder how many others are facing a similar situation, Marcus. I mean, could he give you any insight on that? Are you meeting others with a similar type of story?
Yeah, he said that if it was a person of color, man or woman, that there seemed to be a different experience for them, and that at one point some of them were even pushed and shoved and beaten, is what he said. So, but in particular, he said that if you appeared to be from Africa, that you were subjected to clear discrimination, and even tonight, Kira. We have heard reports of incidents where people who appear to be from Africa have been harassed by members of right-wing organizations. Even tonight, and that there was an incident where the police had to show up to near one of the border crossings to allay the situation that was happening there. Don't have a lot of details on it, but we know that it's something that has occurred this evening, and it gives you some sense of the climate here and what these refugees who are already having to uproot their lives and go into an unknown future, some of them are being faced or met with just ugly discrimination as they try to find safety.
It's tough to hear, but Marcus, we appreciate you being there and giving us the story and in an in-depth way as well. Marcus Moore, thank you.
Right, man. So if that's going on over there, imagine what's coming to America, man. And America gonna get it the worst. This Psalms 83:1, a song of Psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silent, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. And the Lord hasn't been keeping silent and holding his peace. He's been up moving by way of all these storms and these diseases and etc., man. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Right, man? A loud noise, man. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. All the nations came together in a council to consult against Israel. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Right, so that's the reason why we don't know who we are, according to the Bible. Because they all came together. All the nations came together to put Israel to sleep by making it seem like they were the Israelites. The customs that the Ishmaelites have was our customs. They took everything from us and came together to keep us from not knowing who we are. That's why we call ourselves African Americans, Latin Americans, or whatever nation, Native Indians, etc., man. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, right, man? So not only does Esau hate you, all the rest of the nations hate you. Verse 6, it says, the tabernacles of Edom, which Edom represents the white man, and the Ishmaelites represents the Arabs, of Moab, the Chinese, and the Hagarenes, Africans. So even though them guys from Africa, a lot of them are Israelites, but a lot of them, but we are also hated by the actual so-called Africans, man, that come from the Hagarenes tribe, man. Gabal and Ammon, Japanese, Amalek, the so-called Jews, the Zionists, the Philistines, more Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre, more Africans. So we are hated by all the nations. All the nations came together to keep us from knowing who we are according to the Bible. That's the reason why Jacob and them still sleep and still thinking that when, that these Edomites and these other nations are their friends. But that's just showing you when all hell break loose, that them nations, they gonna stick together. A lot of them nations gonna stick together. And Israel gonna be caught out there, man. Well, a lot of Israelites can be caught out there. But, he said that they would think that they was with NATO and try to kill them first, because the Russians are Edomites too. The name Russian, that was just put on them, but they are actual Edomites by nationality according to the Bible. So, and you don't want to join NATO, because that's joining the beast. And if you join the beast, you'll be fighting against Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, man, and the angels. And that's in Revelations, man. I'm not going to get it, but with that being said, call law, Yahweh Yahushai, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers and sisters in truth and sincerity. Shalom.